Now, here's the thing, and this honestly might be arguably one of the most important aspects that XDefiant can learn from how Titanfall 2 did their game, and it's the fact that Titanfall 2 did not have crossplay. It doesn't have crossplay, and that's actually one thing that's very unfortunate about the game right now, because as I mentioned, the game is having a little bit of a resurgence. XDefiant has a lot that it can learn from a game that came before it, that made some mistakes that ensured that it wouldn't become as successful as it could have been. If XDefiant is able to see what they did and improve upon it, we will certainly have ourselves a success on hand with XDefiant. And that game is Titanfall 2, and as you guys know, Titanfall 2 is universally known and praised for having just absolutely incredible gameplay. And at this point, the reason why there's still a huge fan base for Titanfall 2 is because of the fact that it has such incredible gameplay from the get-go. When you make a game that has incredible gameplay, that is memorable for people for a long time, it is bound to develop a cult following that is going to remain loyal for years to come. And that's exactly what we have with Titanfall 2. And recently, we have seen a huge resurgence for the game with the fact that EA has updated the game for the first time in a very long time. But again, the only reason why this is even a big deal is because the game has incredible gameplay and it has developed an extremely loyal audience over the years. Now, what does this have to do with XDefiant? Well, it's very obvious. Titanfall 2 has great gameplay, and so does XDefiant. XDefiant is also known for having incredibly tight, fluid, and fun gameplay. So XDefiant already has something good going for it in the fact that it has such good gameplay. It's already got an audience that is extremely excited to be around simply because the gameplay for the game is so good. Now, here is the thing though. Just because a game has great gameplay does not automatically mean it will be successful. And once again, Titanfall 2 is our example of this. Titanfall 2, while having incredible gameplay, did not succeed in any stretch of the imagination. It launched incredibly poorly, it did not garner the success monetarily that EA was hoping for, and I just got assassinated. And there are a number of reasons as to why Titanfall 2 was not monetarily successful at launch. And truly, I think the biggest reason why it wasn't successful at launch was because of its launch window. EA decided to launch the game in between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which, if you're thinking to yourself, that sounds insane, well, you're right. And yeah, that's absolutely a huge reason why the game did not ever succeed. But here is one extremely huge difference between XDefiant and Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 was a full price, at the time, $60 game, whereas XDefiant, as we know, is free to play. So we've already eliminated a huge barrier to entry with that $70 or $60 price tag being eliminated by the fact that XDefiant is free to play. So good on you, Ubisoft. You've already learned an extremely valuable lesson from EA and Titanfall 2. Now, if you're happy that Ubisoft has learned this lesson already from EA and Titanfall 2, and you are excited about XDefiant in general, then do me a favor, hit that subscribe button here on the YouTube channel, because you know you're already enjoying the content, you might as well subscribe so you stick around for more. Now, another big reason that Titanfall 2 did not succeed at launch was the fact that, unfortunately, the game didn't launch with an unbelievably large amount of content. And when the game was already trying to compete with Battlefield 1 and Infinite Warfare, the two titans in the shooter space at the time, it already had enough going against it that the fact that the game didn't have a ton of content, it really hurt the chances of Titanfall 2 at the time. And again, we've already emphasized that the gameplay for Titanfall 2 is superb, but you know that if there's not a lot to do in a game, even if it plays super well, you're gonna have a harder time getting people to invest their time in your game, especially when it launches in between Call of Duty and Battlefield. Now, with that being said, XDefiant is already knowing that they're gonna be launching with a fair amount of content, and they're gonna be having planned content coming post-launch immediately, which is huge. We already have our roadmap for what the post-launch content is going to look like. We have a 6-week preseason to start off the launch of the game with the Battle Pass, and then after that, we're going to have Season 1, like I said, coming 6 weeks later. We're going to be getting 3 new maps and 3 new weapons each season in the first year, and we know that we're going to be getting 4 seasons throughout the year. So if you do that math, we're looking at 3 new maps and 3 new guns each quarter of the year, or 1 new gun and 1 new map every month of the year. And I just can't stress enough how important it is that we know we're getting this content from the get-go. So even if we're not getting all these maps and guns at launch, we know that we're going to be getting them at a very specific period of time, and that is going to be huge for people's investment. because they know that they're not going to be jumping into a game that's not going to be supported. They know it's going to be supported, and they know at the frequency that it's going to be supported.
I just got killed by kitty cat.
Now, here's the thing, and this honestly might be arguably one of the most important aspects that XDefiant can learn from how Titanfall 2 did their game. And it's the fact that Titanfall 2 did not have crossplay. It doesn't have crossplay. And that's actually one thing that's very unfortunate about the game right now, because as I mentioned, the game is having a little bit of a resurgence. The game was updated for the first time in years by EA here just recently, and there's so many more people that are hopping into the game, some of them for the very first time, and it's fantastic. But unfortunately, we cannot play cross-platform on this game. And it's definitely a huge bummer when you're talking about the overall population of the game. Because I can tell you right now, if this game was cross-platform, it would feel a lot more alive, and even when it was in its lull, where it wasn't updated for a long time, it would have still felt more alive if it was cross-platform. But the good news for XDefiant is that right out of the gate, it's going to be crossplay, which is just absolutely massive. We're going to be able to play with our friends who are on Xbox and who are on PlayStation, who are on PC, and it's going to be fantastic. I know from a content creator perspective, it's absolutely fantastic because now I know that I can play with anybody. I can do live streams where we play with viewers and we get to play with everybody from the community. It is awesome to be able to do that, and I'm so excited that XDefiant didn't make the mistake of not having crossplay. And if you want to be a part of some of these community game nights or being able to play while we're streaming and play with the community, then follow me on Kick. I'm currently 4 followers away from 200. We've got 196 followers on Kick. I would absolutely be so thankful if you guys gave me a follow over there. Now, one thing that definitely was not going very well for Titanfall's case when it came out back in 2016, I think it was the cosmetics. Unfortunately, Titanfall 2 did not launch with very many good cosmetics and ways to customize your pilot. Like, yes, you were able to change your color, and like you had different textures that you could have on your pilot and on your Titan and stuff like that. But honestly, if you really look at the stuff, it's not that inspiring. It's not that fantastic. And it definitely was something that was lacking for Titanfall 2 back in the day. But you know what's fantastic? Titanfall 2 isn't rubbing off on XDefiant in this way. XDefiant already looks like it's going to be getting a lot of really cool cosmetics, and the fact that the game is connected to all Ubisoft franchises really gives us a cool opportunity for some really neat stuff in terms of cosmetics, and I'm really excited to see what that stuff ends up looking like. But I do understand that the thing is at this point, the game's not out yet, and there's a lot of people who are frustrated at that. You want to know what these cosmetics are going to look like. I get it. So do I. And if that's you, you're somebody who's frustrated the fact that you can't check out these cosmetics yet because the game's not out, well then check out this video on screen now, because I talk directly to you about some things. Let me just clean up here, gentlemen.